Good morning, everyone. Thanks again for joining us today. It is Thursday, January the 11th, 2024. We're going to be talking about onboarding and what that is an optional service that PayrollCentric offers that works in conjunction with the New Hire Wizard. If you have onboarding, you do not need to use the New Hire Wizard. This is where the new hire is able to complete all of their documents electronically and electronically sign them. We can set up your account. So if you have special documents that they need to sign, like confidentiality agreements or non-disclosures, or even their employee handbook, we have the ability to add those extra documents in, and you are able to have the employee acknowledge that they've received those documents. So with that, let's begin. So the first thing that you're going to see is the onboarding section where when you add the employee on your dash screen, this is where you'll go. And so when Charles was showing you the New Hire Wizard, you do the same thing, go to the same place. And instead of seeing the New Hire Wizard, you're going to see the onboarding section. And the onboarding section automatically assigns an employee ID based on what is in your system already. The red stars indicate the required fields. So you're going to be filling in their name and their birth date, zip code, personal email address. And we recommend that you do not fill in the social security number. You just put in a series of nines without the dashes to replicate a fake social security number. And that puts the onus on the new hire to enter their social security number to make sure that it's accurate. And then, of course, with any other documentation that you have, you can verify that they entered it correctly. It's a big mess if it becomes an incorrect number. I can't tell you how many times we've had to fix that. So let's not have that happen. The next thing that happens is the employee is sent an email. In fact, let me go back and show you where that happens. Down here where you send the fill out all this information and you put in their email address. Once you've completed all the information, there's a place to click where you can send them an email. They will click on the link that is provided in that email, and it will take them to the onboarding system. So here that you can put in a personalized message, welcome to the team, we're happy you're here. And you can also put in maybe your motto for your company, maybe your vision, maybe the things that are part of your company. For example, PayrollCentric is compliance, ease, and care. And that's what we live by. That's what we work by. So you might want to add something like that. You can also put in who might be the person to help the new hire if they get stuck and the phone number to call, not ours, somebody in your company, have them call you if there is a problem. We will fully train you so that you can answer the questions. And then also each new hire will go through each one of these lines to complete all their documentation. And all of this will then go to you when it's all complete. So the next thing that they're going to see is they get to choose a signature that they like. Now notice that once they've completed a screen, it turns gray. The screen that they're on will be blue, and then the ones coming up will be green, meaning that they haven't done anything with that screen yet. So they choose a signature that they like, and then they have an opportunity to take a look at the information that you've entered for them and just be sure that it's correct, or if there are any changes, like maybe you didn't know an apartment number or something like that, they'll be able to make their edits. Then they go to the next one where we talk about taxes, dependents. The dependents can be added very simply. If they have more than one dependent, they can add a dependent here and a blank screen will come up for them to complete. Now, this is important for them to add because if you're doing employee benefits, you would like to be able to know that dependent information so that a proper quote can be made by your employee benefit provider, which, by the way, PayrollCentric can help you with that. So if you're thinking about enhancing your benefits for your employees, and employee benefits is one of those things, please reach out to me and I'll get you to Josephine, who can assist you with finding the right carrier to suit your needs. So they fill out all the information that is necessary for the dependent. They can also designate a beneficiary if you're providing life insurance, or if the medical insurance has a life insurance component. This is where they can designate that beneficiary. Next one is taxes. Now, this is where they complete both the W-4 and whatever specific state form they need. And that's where you come in. You let us know if this is maybe you're domiciled in LA or in California, but you have an office in Nevada. We, of course, need to have that Nevada state form, but I don't think Nevada has a state unemployment or state tax. So whatever state it is that has that tax form, we would put that in so that they complete the proper form. So they complete the form, and then they have an opportunity to have a look at it to make sure they did it right by clicking on this little magnifying glass here, and it will give them an opportunity to see if they've done everything correctly. This is not the place where they're signing yet. This is just data entry. And by the way, this whole program saves you from having to do this specific data entry like Charles was showing you. That's now on the employee or the new hire to do, and this makes it easier for you. So they complete the Fed, they complete the state. They don't need to print it yet. They could probably want to print it later on when the e-signature has been applied. So then the next thing they'll do is put in their direct deposit information, and they can either enable that or not. If they are enabling that, they can put in more than one bank account so that they can split their paycheck up. And we've done trainings on how you designate how much goes where. Say you just have a flat amount that goes into a savings account, and then you've got another amount that goes into another account, and then the balance goes into your regular account. You can designate that here. There's an opportunity to add different accounts. And also, again, the onus is on the employee to provide the proper information for you. The next thing is emergency contacts. We highly recommend that they have more than one emergency contact. If you only have one and that person's not available, you need to have another person that you can get a hold of in case something happens, and you want to be able to cover yourself just to be sure that the people who need to know that something's occurred can be notified. And I would also ask for maybe home phone, work phone, cell phone. Also, the relationship is important to note, and that is a required field, by the way. The next thing is the compliance, and that's where the I-9 comes in. In this situation with the I-9, this gives you an opportunity to verify their eligibility to work in the United States. It is an easy form to complete, and they will be able to actually electronically sign that I-9, and I'll show you where that shows up in Dash in just a moment. But if you change from U.S. citizen to non-citizen national, it will automatically change these required documents that are necessary to verify eligibility. This is a slide deck, so I can't show you exactly how that occurs with this, but that's what occurs. So if they're a permanent resident, and it'll show what documents are required here. And they will have to show you those documents. Remember, we talked about this, that it is no longer an option to be able to verify virtually unless you have e-verify. And that is something that PayrollCentric can help you with. And we're also going to be talking a little bit about that next week when Linda Duffy is here. They must complete this. Did I use this myself, or did I have a person help me translate this? This, by the way, we can also do this in Spanish. It takes a little bit more setup, but it can be done in Spanish if necessary. And then they want to view their I-9. They, again, click on this little magnifying glass to make sure they completed all of the lines and spaces and everything is correct. Then they go to the next one, which is review and submit. This is where we're going to put those documents that you need to have a signature for, or an acknowledgement that they looked at it, as in the employee handbook. Obviously, they're probably not going to sit and read the whole thing, but they need to acknowledge that they got it. They'll have an opportunity to download it by using this little magnifying glass here, and you'll be able to see that they did that. And then, of course, you might have a safety policy, and we can also provide a link so that they can get their California anti-harassment training done at the time of new hire, so that that's already done for you. It's complete. And of course, you need to do that every 2 years for your employees. And it's a 2-hour training for employees and a 1-hour training for managers and above. And this is a good way to keep track of getting that done. You don't have to think about it for that new hire right now. Then they'll click finish, and they'll have an opportunity to download all those documents that they've signed, and you'll be able to see them. Now here is just a sample of Dash. I'm going to go to my actual account in a moment, but this tells you that you have an onboarded employee and you need to go and review the I-9, and that reminds you to get that done. So let me escape from here and let me go to my PayrollCentric website demonstration. And here is where you're going to find the I-9. The I-9, you click on Documents, you go down the gray ribbon, and you click on I-9 Documents. And in here, you can click on an employee, and you can have a look at their document to be sure that they completed everything. And now it's your turn. So you can see that Jody has completed everything. She put in her social security number, and now she has completed the document. There is a date and a timestamp here for her. And when all of that is done, it's your turn. That's when you ask for the verifying documents, whether in person or virtually, depending on where they are and if you have E-Verify. And then you'll be able to do your part and sign it. And there's also a date and a timestamp here for you. And notice they're uploaded into Dash already. So you're not going to have these documents hanging around your office or in an unlocked file cabinet or on your kitchen table, depending on where you're working. Also, there's a little sheet here that tells you what you're going to need to verify for each of the different classifications of the person that you have hired. So that helps you along the way. Going back to Dash, all of these things that happen now that they've completed, if you have done this electronically, the only thing that you've entered is just their address and a couple of pieces of information. But once the employee completes their onboarding package, everything else is completed for you, with the exception of their pay rate and their position in the company. Of course, you probably don't want them to include their own pay rate. They might give themselves a raise on the first day. So I would recommend that you take a look at this as soon as that's done. There's an opportunity here, and maybe Charles can show us how to do that in another training, but a notification can be put on your landing page, excuse me, that you have an I-9 Section 1 that you need to take a look at, and you need to do your part. It also will give you an opportunity, if you'd like, to know when the birthdays are, so you can start the birthday chat. And if they have a certification in their employment that they need to renew, this is not a new hire, but your current employee, maybe they're a driver, they need to renew their driver's license, or if you're in a medical field, they have to do their extra training in order to continue their certification to be able to do their job. So this is really a great place for notifications. And so we'll put that on the list to train on that in a future date. But remember, this bar here is your friend. Everything that you have on your particular account is shown up here. And by the click of a button, you can get to where you need to be, including taking a look at your new hires. So thank you for listening to our onboarding part. I appreciate you very much.
Thank you, Saundra. That's I love your presentation. I do have a few questions, though. If you could go down to the shortcut key for the employee onboarding.
Sure. In the home page, and when you're going to add an employee, it's right here.
Yeah, it's right there. Okay, perfect. So let's go there.
Okay.
Okay. So one of the things that Saundra mentioned was that when they're filling out their state forms, well, how does the system know which state and what form to use? When we're setting up the onboarding for you, by the way, we are the ones who prepare the message, the welcome message, when you tell us what you want on there. We're the ones who prepare your forms for them to sign. So you provide that to us, and we set up the onboarding for you. And what we do is we set up the employee differences by these groups. And the bare minimum we have for them is the state and tax form. So if you notice that the second one down is Arizona W-2. So that's the bare minimum. We can, of course, add more groups, like depending upon how you want them set up. And then that would include things like the departments, different locations, things like that. We can set it up to be more restrictive, but the bare minimum we have is with the state and the type of tax form. And then those forms will be loaded when the applicant is filling out those tax forms.
They get uploaded here. And so I'll pick on Raggedy Ann. And when Raggedys completed the forms, they will be loaded in under the HR tab. Where is the HR tab? There it is, right there. And it will go under documents. And you can move them to wherever you want them to be, but that's where they'll end up.
And more important, they'll be filling out the correct document for their state. And it's like it's going to be the
Right.
Arizona state form instead of, say, the California one.
Right.
And,
that would have been a better example than my Nevada.
and if we can go back to the
Here?
The presentation, the slideshow.
Okay.
Because there is another thing. And can we go to the one that has the different forms that they use?
You mean for the I-9?
Yeah, no, for the handbook and training.
Oh, okay. That'd be the last slide, I think it is. There we go.
One important thing, and this can happen a lot, is that you'll notice they're not able to view the document before signing off is grayed out. So what happens is the reason that the top one is enabled is because the employee has downloaded the employee handbook. So they will have to go through and click on those magnifying glasses to view these items before they can complete this step. So I have gotten calls from clients going, they can't finish their onboarding. And it's like, it can be something like this. Or if they didn't complete a particular item on one of these steps, then it keeps them from completing the onboarding. And that's usually on a one-on-one. What will happen is I'll ask them, hey, give me the information so I can look in and see. And I go, okay, this step they didn't complete. So usually it's by going, they do have to click on that next, or they do have to click on particular things. Like in this case, they have to open up the item before they can complete it. So they can click on the magnifying glass, then it enables the button, and then they can go forward.
And also you can see here that the item that they didn't complete is blue in the list rather than green. It should be gray if they've completed that in real time. So they've configured their signature. So they haven't been able to sign anything because they didn't do that slide. Thanks, Charles. That's good information.
Oh, yeah. Well, that comes from just working on it with the clients. So there's things that you don't find out until you're actually dealing with the situations. And
exactly.
It's a touch and go. But anytime that you run into those, let us know and we can work the steps to see what was missing.
All right. So are there any other questions that you can see in the chat, Charles? I'm not there.
I do not see any. I just see, I see that your email, and that's about it.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. We hope you found the information useful, and we are very, very pleased and thankful that you are part of our PayrollCentric family. Goodbye for now.